Welcome back, everybody, to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here at the home studio, ending out 2019, and none better than one of the country's up-and-coming female guitarists. Yes, brings me great pleasure to welcome the beautiful Nikki Stringfield here to the Rob's MetalWorks studio. Nikki, welcome. Thank you for coming over and talking about your new record with us.
What's up? It's awesome to be here. Thanks for having me. Couldn't think of a better way to end 2019.
You are here in Texas celebrating the holidays, and it just, an alignment of the stars that made tonight happen. And I was thinking to myself, why is Nikki in Texas? And when I was doing my research, I found out, you're from Texas yourself.
Yeah, born and raised in Red Oak, which is about 30 minutes south of Dallas, middle of nowhere. So I'm here all the time.
Great to have you in the Alamo City, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But, as I was, thinking about Nikki Stringfield and her roots in Texas, and now, she's a stalwart in L.A., I was kind of following your kind of progression of where you came from. And I was really kind of surprised to find out that, you grew up in Red Oak and did your college work at the University of Texas in Austin.
Mm-hmm. Went to UT, graduated 2012, radio, TV, and film, minor in business.
Yeah.
And I knew I did that just so I could move to LA. I interned in LA, worked at Warner Brothers Music, and that's how I got my start in LA.
I got to ask this too, because, we're going to talk about your record here in a bit. And I love your guitar playing. And now I think I love your singing a little bit more. So what were you first, a singer or a guitar player?
Well, I did karaoke a lot when I was young. Sang in the car a lot, drove my parents crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, guitar playing.
Was first?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Started at 14. My dad got me my first guitar. It was a Schecter Griffin. Diamond series, and then as soon as I got that guitar, picked up Nirvana tab books and just went from there.
Wow.
Cool. I'd always liked playing and singing, but nobody ever was like, you should try to sing too. Nobody ever told me that. So when I was finally like, you know what, I'm getting older, let's just give it a shot. It can't hurt. The worst thing people can say is, man, that sucks, and not listen to it. So
that was my next question. Was, you kind of answered it a little bit. So you dug Nirvana back at that in your college days. What other bands did you like back then in your early days?
I grew up listening to rock and metal thanks to my parents. So my dad was a guitar player. They listened to, AC/DC, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, pretty much everything in here. I had that same little Kurt Cobain action figure.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yep, it's somewhere in storage now. Avenged Sevenfold, once they came out with Waking the Fallen, that was a huge, huge album for me. And then into City of Evil, Pantera, of course, being from Dallas, so just everything.
And you moved to LA in 2012, and I think I just heard you say a little while ago that was the plan. Yeah. To move out there, and I meet a lot of musicians, great musicians in our regional area, but they never seem to have like the balls to go out there and try to make the dream a reality, where the music industry obviously is more prominent and productive. You were never afraid to do that?
Nobody ever believed me. I was like, I'm going to move to LA. Nobody. I was the quiet one, honor student in school. I was always drawing. I'd play guitar. I was the weird little goth girl with the eyebrow piercing, black hair. I just knew I had to do it. Yeah. And nobody believed me, and once I finally did it, I was like, oh my God, I'm actually here. And they thought, okay, maybe for the semester. And no, I stayed, I did it. And I think people still are like, what is, really? But yeah, if you put your mind to it, you could do anything. So
what was the attractive thing about LA for you?
Cliche music. Like, I moved to Austin to go to, UT there because I heard it was the live music capital of the world. Growing up in Red Oak, I had nobody to play with. I didn't start playing live until I moved to LA. There was just nobody to jam with. I didn't like any of the music in Austin. I just would go to class, come home and play guitar. I didn't go party, didn't go to any football games while I was there. Yeah. I just traveled to go to shows. So the cliche, moved to LA for music, and something pulled me there. And once I was there, within a few months, I was in 2 bands.
Wow.
So it happened really fast.
So at that time, like, were your chops already kind of pretty damn good?
Yes, I spent most of my time playing guitar. So I had started out posting cover videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got my start. I think I started with like the first time I uploaded a video was like for an Avenged Sevenfold contest. Like, here, play this, play a solo. It was before, I think it was Almost Easy. And I played the solo, and then of course, it was when YouTube first kind of started.
Yeah.
And so people were shit talking, like, it's a girl, whatever. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to post more just to prove I can play. And then
Right.
I would have tons of views just from my covers. And that's when Schecter kind of saw me on there. So yeah, YouTube, thanks. Now it's oversaturated with a million people. I get copyrighted, like, I get flagged for my own songs, going up. So lots changed, but.
We'll talk about Schecter later. Schecter Guitars. I love those guys. Let's talk about, I think most people will recognize you from your work with the Iron Maidens. So you said a little while ago, you said, I moved to LA, and before I knew it, I was in a couple of bands. So that was the Iron Maidens and Femme Fatale?
I actually was in an original band called Before the Mourning.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a heavy melodic band.
And you did recordings with them?
Yeah, I did. We did an EP, and then we toured. We opened for In This Moment. So that was 2013, 2014, I can't remember. And that's actually a couple of the guys in that band introduced me to Courtney and Nita and the Maidens. And that's how I got in the Maidens. So, yeah, it was all very, music scene is very intertwined, and everybody knows everybody. It's such a small little world, so, yeah.
And so, obviously, so you weren't doing a lot of, live playing in Austin before your transition. And then you got to LA, and you're in these bands, and that's all these bands do is want to play live. So how did you evolve as a musician once moving to LA?
My whole world changed. I went from just playing in my room to being out on the stage, and two totally different, bands and genres, and I learned a lot from both of them. The Maidens you have to really put on a show. It's like everything. You've got nobody even told me that the monsters were going to run out on the stage. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, and then the CO2, I had no idea any of that was going to happen on the first show. So it was, I just got thrown into the fire, and that was the best way to do it. There was just no preparing. I was learning an hour and a half Maiden set, an hour of my own band's material, graduating college, interning, working for Schecter. I was like, oh my God. Once that was over, it seemed easy to just do the music. I was like, so yeah, thrown into the fire. Best way to do it.
So tonight, my primo and I were pre-gaming. He says, like, primo, is she like Dave Murray or Adrian Smith? I said, I don't know. I'll ask her.
Dave Murray.
There we go, Rick. We know.
All
Dave Murray.
Dave Murray.
The original member of Iron Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yes.
Great. So at this point, you're still with the Iron Maidens.
Oh yeah. We just got back from Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw you did shows in Amsterdam and Germany and.
Yeah. Second time this year, and we're gonna be back next year.
Yeah.
I won't say anything, but it's gonna be some cool shows. But yeah, we've got a lot of shows lined up next year. Lots of touring.
I didn't read this part that you had minored in business, and I'm a business guy, so I know business people kind of are planning, they're strategically planning their lives and their careers. Was it always, again, you said the plan was always to go to LA, and was the plan also to eventually, once you felt you were at a particular point musically, professionally, to transition into a solo artist?
Yeah, I knew I always wanted to do original music. That was never a question about that. That's why I loved being in my original band. It just took me forever to finally get the balls to do it.
Yeah.
Because the Maidens, it's somebody else's music. It's fun. Everybody, it's got a built-in audience. Everybody loves it. The crowds go crazy. And then, once I finally was like, kind of just as time went on, I was like, I don't give a shit if people will talk shit about you no matter what you do, no matter what you sound like. You could be the best guitar player, musician out there, and they're going to talk shit. So I was like,
Right.
you know, I'm just going to put out what I like,
Yeah.
see what it does. And my dad was always on my ass. You need to do your own stuff. Do your own stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. Yeah, I will. Give me a chance. And so I did. Finally, I'm way beyond due, but hey, it's done.
In 2017, you released a couple of like your first solo singles. I know there was one in 2016, but really the ones from 2017, I really felt made an impact. And the song that I really love is "As Chaos Consumes." That's like a heavy track. I loved what you did with it. You did a couple of videos, so it kind of felt like, okay, this is kind of like a stepping point. There's no EP here, but she's doing her own thing. And I think just to jump off that ledge and to say, okay, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm not just satisfied doing, you know, these cool shows and touring, but the artistic part of me says I want to put myself out there and do my own music. And I think those two songs were killer, man. I'm really a fan of what you're doing. And you know, when David brought this to my attention, I was like, yeah, dude, I love what she's doing, and I love the integrity of what she's doing. So much props to you. And I think were those two kind of songs really kind of like did you feel like the jumping off point for you solo wise?
Yeah, I didn't really know what I was doing. You know, I pretty much those were recorded just, you know, at my home, little home studio, my old home studio. And that was the first song I ever wrote, was "As Chaos Consumes."
Really?
Yeah, I was like, well, we're just going to go with this. And then the other one, "Save Our Souls," I originally wrote for my old band, but we never used it. Like music, like just the music, just the guitar riffs and everything. So I always wanted to use that one. But I was like, well, here's the start. Had pretty good reception, so I've been working on these new songs for about a year or two before we finally really got to start recording them. I had demoed them out, you know. So I was like, we're just go for it. I wanted to do a full length, but that would have taken more time. More time, more resources, more energy. I was like, I just got to put something out.
Don't blow your wallet out.
Yeah.
Too quick,
Yeah, the next one will be a full length.
I think though too, and I was remiss not to say, you started off as a guitar player, you went to LA, got gigs as a guitar player, and then you're releasing these solo songs and you're singing. Yeah. So were you always kind of confident about what you could do vocally? I think your vocals are great.
Thank you. I always thought so. I always loved singing. With my friends, we'd always, you know, they'd always hear me singing. My mom would hear me singing in the next room while playing guitar. I always loved playing. I don't know which one I love doing more, to be totally honest. I think guitar is probably first, but, you know, I was always confident. I just didn't know if other people would like it, because I have more of a soft voice. I didn't know if it would really go with the music that I want to play. Right. You know, I wish I could scream and do, you know, have a heavier voice, but there's no way that's coming out of me. That's just not happening.
We've seen that happen with other people in rock and roll. Okay, so let's talk about why we're really here. I mean, Nikki released a record on October 30th called the Harmonies For The Haunted, a 5-song EP. Beautiful, beautiful piece of work, and that's why we're doing this interview here today. So, again, when I got the CD and I was looking through it, I'm jamming it, I'm looking at the liner notes, I'm like, damn, Nikki wrote all this music herself. And you know, there's so many great guitar players out there, and they can be shredders and Dwiddle-dee and Dwiddle-dum, but not many of them are really good songwriters. I think we have the guitar players who are shredders, then you have the ones that are guitar players, and then you have the ones that are kind of both. And when I think of Nikki Stringfield, I'm thinking like, oh, this young lady is kind of like in the both.
Thank you. Well, yeah. I grew up too. I mean, I love the instrumental. I love all the shred stuff, but when I hear songs, I want to be able to sing. I want to have a catchy chorus. You know, I grew up going to tons of Papa Roach concerts and just, you know, there's nothing really technical guitar playing,
Right.
but just the riffs are awesome.
Right.
The music's great. People just get into it, love the music. And I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to have some songs that were more vocally driven with like riff hook driven. And I wanted, of course, to include some more guitar driven tracks too, or else people would probably be like, what the hell is this? Where's the guitar? Which, you know, I probably would have been like too, but you know, I like the balance of it.
And I'm glad you say that because the emphasis was not, okay, this is a guitar record, you know, this isn't Angel Vivaldi. This is a record where we're focusing on the songs.
Yeah, that's really what I know a lot of people still, they'll be like, I didn't know when they got it. They're like, I didn't know you were singing. I was like, I tried to make it as clear as possible with me, you know, showing videos of me singing.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to get. It's not going to be a shred album. But so, you know, I have not had anybody be like, man, I'm really disappointed that you're singing on this. Well, it's been good.
This record, too, kind of has like a little bit of everything for everyone. Like, you know, I hear some bluesy stuff in there, here's some ballad stuff in there, and then you got Unbroken and you're rocking, you know, and great shred in that song, too. I mean, these songs have so much sonic landscape too. Like every time I hear the record, I always kind of hear something new. And we'll talk a little bit about the production here a bit, but was that always kind of like, is that what, you know, Nikki likes? She likes it all.
I have such a, you know, vast variety of music that I love. You know, I grew up, you know, I was born in '90s, so I grew up listening to the '80s stuff, but I also, you know, grew up with a million other things, Papa Roach and Avenged Sevenfold and all the screaming music, you know, that my parents didn't like. So yeah, I just loved it all. I couldn't pick just one thing. I still couldn't do that.
And then I find out that you played like all the instruments on the record too, except for the drums, but you did everything. You did the bass, guitar, singing. I mean, wow, she like really, this is really a reflection of her and her talents.
That was the first time I ever picked up a bass, to be totally honest. I was like, Schecter, can you guys give me a bass? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Actually, when we were recording it, our producer, Jesse, was like, you know, kind of dumb it down. Like, you know, I'm a guitar player trying to play bass, but, you know, it was, yeah, I like it. I like bass. But, yeah, I wanted to do everything. I wanted to show I could do everything.
Why was that important to you?
I liked having the control of writing everything, like where when I was in my old band, I never really got my music into it because there were a million outside writers. I never really got to show myself.
Right.
So I was really just wanting to, you know, of course we trimmed down some of the parts, like, you know, I was playing too much guitar in some parts or whatever. So they're like, oh, we can take this out. We can make it a little shorter. So of course there was some of that and trimming and whatever, but for the most part, everything that's in there is pretty much what I wrote, at least structurally, and all the solos, and yeah, so it was everything. I just wanted to show me.
Yeah.
You know, being in a tribute band's fun, but I wanted to show me. So
I can imagine how much more gratifying a record like this is for you. Not to take anything away from the Iron Maidens, but just as an artist and self-fulfillment of releasing an artistic piece of work straight from your own corazón, you know?
yes, I mean, I had no idea really where to start. Okay, the music was done, and then I was like, okay, well now there's album art. It's like, oh God, what do I do? And I had this guy named Tristan. He hit me up. Tristan, great. How do you say great? I'm so blanking on how to say his name. Great Rex. He's done album art for. I'm gonna totally blank right now. UFO, Vinnie Moore, a million people. He's a great artist in the UK, and he hit me up asking if, you know, I'd like to collaborate with him on the album art. I was like, yeah, of course. So we were going back and forth, and I just gave him a couple of ideas, and back and forth from the UK. Each morning we'd wake up and, you know, collaborate on it. It was a real big learning process.
Yeah.
But you know,
Eventually, you kind of get to where we're both. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he was incredible. He just was like, oh, whatever you like. I let him run with it, and I just was like, yeah, this is it. It's done. I love it. You know, the music's done. That's done. It was to finally have the finished product, it was like, I can't believe I actually have my own CD. That's crazy.
Cool.
I never
Right
thought
there.
that. Yeah.
It's right there. Great segue to talk about lyrics because, you know, I'm always big on lyrics and what artists are saying. And, you know, I was listening to your record and I'm like, oh man, Harmonies for the Haunted. Oh God. There's some battle scars in this woman's life, in her young life. And, you know, I hear, you know, some of the lyrics, you know, there's some heartache in there and things like that, all the tribulations that, you know, most of us go through as human beings. So holistically, you know, what is, you know, Harmonies for the Haunted saying?
Well, I wrote it over, I guess, lyrically, almost over the course of a year. So a lot happens in a year. It was just kind of whatever was going on in my mind at the time. I think I wrote When the Devil Comes Down and Take Me on a Plane. I wrote both of those. When the Devil Comes Down musically and just everything poured out of me on the plane. I'm just writing all the lyrics. Take Me to. I knew I needed to have some kind of happy song, so I was like, okay, I can't always be my emo self, so I made a happy song, and I did Straight Through the Heart.
Oh, I love that fucking song, man. Straight Through the Heart. Great guitar work on that fucking track, man.
It was like, I've got to be, you know, I'm a happy person too. Let's throw that in there.
Oh,
yeah, so I was
great
like,
rock song.
yeah, so thank you. But
I listen to it a lot.
yeah, I just try to let whatever is going on just kind of pour out of me. And, you know, lyrics have always been a very important thing to me, too. So, yeah.
Okay, let's get a little technical because we got all the techie rock music freaks out there who want to know, like, oh, like, where did she record the record? And you mentioned Jesse Pilson in a little bit. But, of course, you know, our brother Patrick Kennison was part of the record, too. So where did you record the record?
I recorded it all in Jesse Bilson's studio.
Ah.
Yep. And then we did vocals in Patrick Kennison's studio. So we did all of it there.
The shred master, the San Antonio legend. He's here tonight. Come on in, Patrick. Come on in.
Hey,
Come on in.
Hey.
Oh, my God.
Thanks for having me.
You always look so fucking good looking.
I can't help it. It's the Irish Mexican. You get best of both worlds. Whiskey, tequila.
Mexican.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, you know, I saw in the credits, Nikki had documented like Patrick was the vocal producer. So, you know, obviously, you know, young vocalists they kind of have that untapped kind of potential. So you as a vet, I'm sure when you listened to her, like, and you thought, okay, well, if we're going to do this in the studio, there are certain strengths that we can take advantage of and certain weaknesses maybe we want to get rid of. What was your approach when you were working on this record with Nikki?
I kind of used my experience. I told her, you're an awesome guitar player. I've been looked at as the awesome guitar player. I said, when you do your vocals, I remember what I did to get myself in the moment, in the groove. I said, I don't want to sound like a guitar player who sings. I want to sound like a singer who also can play guitar.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest, the gig with her album was pretty easy because she had all the lyrics done. Most of the melodies were already there. I felt like I was more like capturing a vibe rather than instructing her.
Like motivating her.
Yeah, I would just say stuff like, when you sing this lyric, I want you to sing it as if there's no microphone, as if it's your last chance and you have a megaphone to the world. That's all you have to do when you sing. You don't have to worry about, am I in key? Am I perfect tone? No, you just have to sing it like tomorrow the world will end and everybody's going to see what you said. and that was kind of my version of motivation in the studio, you know, and I liked it. It was I already knew she was a badass. You know, we do our thing in Heaven Below together.
Yeah.
And I was excited to be part of it. And with Jesse Bilson producing it, who also produces Heaven Below, I was like, yeah, this is a no-brainer for sure.
Yeah.
I knew Jesse would deliver greatness to her stuff.
Yeah, the vocals are amazing on this record. I really love the way they came out. And, you know, when I was thinking, oh, Nikki Stringfield, the guitar player, I'm listening to this record, I'm like, oh, god damn, she's the singer, Nikki Stringfield. Yeah, great.
I've been there. People told me when I put out Daylight Dies, people couldn't believe that it was my vocal. And I said, all you got to do is just be genuine and have it be believable and be yourself. And, yeah, and then I tell probably the same thing I tell myself. Well, people know us as these great guitar players. We are not going to give them the chance to say they're okay singers.
Yeah.
You're going to say, whoa, I had no idea. You know, much like somebody like John Corabi, for example.
Right.
Great guitar player, great singer. And I strive to be even just a tenth of that kind of talent, you know? I don't care that John Corabi sold the least Motley Crue records. I care that he's the most talented guy that was in Motley Crue.
Right. Great. Well, San Antonio and people around the world, if you have not yet heard about it, this is the brand new CD from Nikki Stringfield called Harmonies for the Haunted. Came out on October 30th. Be sure to look for it right after you watch this interview. Check it out, download it, buy it, jam it, rock it. It's a beautiful piece of work. We've been jamming it here at the MetalWorks for quite some time. We're talking all about it this evening. So, Nikki, where can all these people who are watching this interview get this CD right now? Where can they go to get it? Where do you want them to go get it?
Well, you can get it at my website, Nikki-Stringfield.com.
Yep.
It's available digitally everywhere. If you just want to download it, you can stream it, but that's not fun, right? So you can go to my
buy it, people.
So, yeah, the website, Google, anywhere.
Yeah. So, we're about to break into the new year in a few days. What does 2020 hold for you? I know you might be busy with the Iron Maidens, but do you want to tour in support of this record?
Oh, man, I would love to. I would really love to. The hard part is finding off dates when the Maidens are not playing to do that. But maybe throw a couple songs in with Heaven Below when we're playing. So
that's going to happen. The vinyl that you're getting ready to release?
Yeah, I have a vinyl bundle out, and it's going to have 2 unreleased songs. So it'll have 2 new songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then
I know about that.
So
Nice.
we're going to get that.
Full color picture disc.
Oh, yeah, it's full color
not black
picture disc.
vinyl,
So it'll
not
be
cheap vinyl.
this.
Picture disc vinyl.
Yeah,
cool.
it's going to look really badass. That'll be out in the spring. So 2 new songs, and yeah, we're definitely going to do a couple of these songs with Heaven Below at the shows.
Yeah. You did a video for When the Devil Comes Down. It's really cool. I liked it wasn't just like a lyric video. It had like some video in it, which is something I don't see a lot. Really cool. Any more videos you want to do for the record?
Definitely.
Tell me which song. Tell me. Spill the beans. Come on.
Did we say?
Gosh,
Yeah.
there's a couple choices.
Okay.
I know it was really hard to nail it down. We were thinking we wanted to do an actual video for When the Devil Comes Down, but looking at Haunted.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of good response.
My vote is Haunted or Straight Through the Heart.
Yeah.
That's my vote.
We thought Straight Through the Heart was going to be like the iffy song, like, this is the weak one. People love that one. It's like,
that song.
that's a lot of people's
You
favorite.
guys never know because you're too close to the art. You got to let the fans decide.
When you are inside the picture, it is hard to look at
Yes.
it. You are not 10 feet away from it.
You become
Yeah.
attached to
I
some
love
of them,
Straight
and
Through
it's
the
like,
Heart.
you have your favorites, but then that's not always what other people like. So,
I think Haunted kind of accentuates the voice and the melodic, but I think like the Straight Through the Heart would kind of be, for me, like the next one would be more appropriate because it's like the heavy guitar driven one. I think people want to hear you rock. They want to see you rock. Yeah, that's my goal.
I totally agree.
Okay. All right. So for all the guitar geeks out there too, we got to talk about Schecter. We mentioned Schecter earlier. I know our brother Patrick's with Schecter. How did your involvement with Schecter happen? And then I didn't even know, but you have a signature guitar with Schecter?
I do.
Wow.
I do, and there might be a new one coming out soon.
Wow. Spill it.
So, yeah. I started, like I said, I had seen them kind of post a picture of me before I moved to LA on Facebook, and I was like, oh, Schecter just shared my picture. Oh my God, freaking out.
Wow.
And then, so one of my professors, it was mostly film based. I had one music industry class. So of course I'm the only person that's interested in the music. So my professor was like, do you want to go to NAMM? I was like, yeah, I do. So that was the first, within the first few months of me moving to LA. That's how I eventually met everybody. But I asked them, Schecter just messaged him on Facebook. I'd love to meet you guys. I'm going to be at NAMM. And hey, that's how it started. They're like, yeah, come by the booth, and they let me hang out. You know, I went there every day, met everybody, and then the next, you know, I think I went on the last day, and they sent me home with a couple of guitars to try out, and then I ended up working for them, you know, for a couple of months. When I first moved out there, needed a job. They've just been like family ever since I moved there, and they're not like just a guitar company to me. They're all good friends. You know, I wouldn't have been able to stay out there if it wasn't for them. So that was a dream come true to even get to be playing their guitars. And then, you know, I think it was 2016. I can't remember the year that they gave me my signature model. That was a dream come true.
It's a beautiful guitar too.
Thank you. So I just got to. Yeah, there's gonna be a new one coming out soon.
Hopefully we'll keep our eyes open for it, you know. And you know, I think in your response, you shed a light on a lot of intangibles. And I tell a lot of young cats who come through this door, you know, this business, you know, it's so hard to kind of, especially in this day and age, to kind of really be at the top, and that when you tear down all the facade, you know, this business is about relationships.
Absolutely. When I worked at Schecter, I was just, you know, at the reception desk, and they would just have so many people come through just basically wanting free guitars. You know, just anybody would bounce around from company to company, just, oh, free guitar, free gear, free gear, free gear. And once, you know, it's all about the relationships with people. And you know, that's all it's been for me. That's what I tell people is you go and you just go meet people. That's all you can do. You can be a phenomenal guitar player, and if you don't know anybody, you're not going to get anywhere.
And I think that people also are smart people. There's a lot of smart people out there, and I think a lot of people can respect a genuine person and artist. And I think that's why you have raised up through the ranks so quickly, because you have this, you know, genuine persona about you. Even in the short while that I've been with you, I've been able to recognize that. So keep doing what you're doing, lady. Now, in 2018, you started working with this man in Heaven Below. And like I told you before we started rolling, I said I was one of the first people to hear about it. Like, oh, we got a new guitar player, but don't say anything. Nikki Stringfield. I'm like, oh, okay. And so what's happening on the Heaven Below front? Pat, you were telling me off camera that there's going to be a new record, hopefully coming up in May.
Before May, we'll have a new record we've been talking about for a while called Rest in Pieces, a tribute to the departed. It's all songs from our legends that have left us. And Nikki is featured on the album, of course, with her wonderful guitar playing, but also some of her lead vocals. We cover Alice in Chains, Linkin Park, Pantera, Queen, AC/DC, the Ramones. And it'll be out before May. And one thing I got to tell people say, why isn't that album out yet? You can't just release cover songs as you wish, like they're your own. You actually have to license them from each artist and each people that own it. And I got to say, when Nikki got on the recording, the whole vibe got lifted, and then we realized, okay, half of this album is great. Can we make the other half that great? And that's another reason it's taken a while.
Yeah. Can you share at all a little bit about, you know, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of the tracks going to be on there?
Absolutely. The album kicks off with our cover of We Will Rock You. It's nothing like the We Will Rock You that you know of from Queen. And
I think that's great, because when I hear cover tracks, I don't want the band covering their track to play it exactly the same way that it was before. I want them to do it their own way, with their own flavor.
You'll be happy with We Will Rock You. Now, that being said, we did Motorhead and AC/DC, and we did stay true to those. We got a piano version of Down in a Hole from Alice in Chains that I'm happy about.
Crawling.
We did Linkin Park's Crawling with Nikki even doing some lead vocals on it. It really covers the gamut. We do a Motorhead medley. We couldn't do one Motorhead song. We had to do about 4 of them.
Does that mean you have to license all 4 songs?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Do you remember Metallica did the Merciful Fate medley?
Yeah.
I always thought that was so cool. And so one day we're like, man, when do you do something that cool? And a lot of the Motorhead songs can fit together. because and so we have the motor medley. I'm really happy about that one. Oh God, I can't remember everything else that's on it, but it's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, that gives us a taste of what's coming up. Nikki, did you know about Heaven Below before you joined the band?
I went and saw the band whenever they play in LA.
Oh, yeah?
You know, go support.
Yeah.
I've been friends with him since 2012 or 13.
Oh,
so yeah.
And we're neighbors too. That
Yeah,
helped
we
because we
live
were
right down the
neighbors.
road. So no, remember we were both going home to Texas. We were road tripping home to Texas together before Good Morning Apocalypse was released, and he played the CD, and I was like, okay, I love that song. Wait, I love that one even more. So I love the music.
Yeah.
Not just because he's my friend, but I genuinely love the music. You know, so.
Don't get me started on Good Morning Apocalypse because I'm a fan of that record and I love it a lot. So Patrick, I was telling you off camera, I'm like, you know, I thought the follow-up to Good Morning Apocalypse was going to be in May, not the cover record. So when will the follow-up to Good Morning Apocalypse come out? When do you want it out?
Oh, I'd love to see it before 2020 is over. We have a lot of songs. We're already writing things together.
How far along are you? You think like 50%?
Oh, we recorded 24 or 28 songs for Good Morning Apocalypse, so there's a whole nother album already there. We'd have to comb through it and really put our nose to the grindstone.
Will you kind of keep that same kind of storyline?
We do. We actually had one idea is to do a prequel and take one of the characters, Devilina, from Devilina and the Damage Done. She's the badass. And we that was one idea, and some of the songs might happen. Too early to say. I got to get 10,000 feet above and see what we have, you know. I think that's what we got to do.
Be careful. Sometimes some of our crazy fans out there don't understand the prequels, so. But your smart fans will love it. Guys, what a great fucking interview tonight. What a great interview. What a way to end out 2019. Anything I missed? Any last words that you want to share, Nikki, with all your fans out there who are going to watch this interview all over the world?
Shit, not that I can think off the top of my head.
We covered the gamut.
Yeah, I think we pretty much
Patrick,
got
how about
everything.
you?
Let me see. I only have one plug.
Do it.
Nikki is not the only person in the room that's going to have a new signature model next year.
Okay, yeah.
There it is. So
about fucking time. Right?
yeah, not mine's not ready for NAMM. Nikki's new model is ready for NAMM.
In February, right?
In January.
January.
We start research and design on mine right after NAMM in February.
Okay, you gotta tell me this. Flying V?
I came close to doing a flying V, but I think I'm doing something a little cooler.
A little different. All right. I had to ask because I know how you love your V's and stuff. Guys, thank you again for coming over this evening. Nikki, what a beautiful persona you are. My brother Patrick, you know I love you. Anytime you're in San Antonio, you're welcome here to the Rob's Metal Studio. Remember, everyone out there, God, how can you forget? Brand new music already, just released on October 30th. Harmonies for the Haunted from Nikki Stringfield. Go out there, pick it up, get it now. You saw the lady and Patrick Kennison only right here on Rob's